What's up guys, this is Rohan, and in this video I'm going to talk about how you can use bump maps and displacement maps in your project and what they are supposed to do, what are the differences, and when you should use them. Now there's multiple different situations in which you have to use them. So guys, before you start watching this video, make sure to like this video and consider subscribing to this channel for more tutorials like these. Before in my previous videos I have not mentioned this a lot, and I have seen that a lot of people are actually viewing the video but they are not actually liking and stuff like that. I'm seeing this a lot, so I just wanted to remind you guys, and let's start. So what are bump maps and displacement maps? So whenever you see an object in real life, suppose a wall or suppose tiles and stuff like that, you might see that they are not even. The surfaces are not even every single time. They have patterns, they have scratches, they have little bit of imperfections. So no surface in real life is completely even. So keep that in mind, and that's where bump maps and displacement maps come. Both of them work pretty much in similar way. There's just a little bit of difference. So let's talk about the differences. Now as you can see right here, one of them is using bump map and one of them is using displacement map. Can you identify which one is using bump map and which one is using displacement map? 3, 2, 1. And the one which is using bump map is this one. All right, and this has displacement map. I know they look pretty different, but for a lot of people they might not be able to understand a difference, what's exactly happening right here. From this view you might not be able to understand this, but let's see the sphere where bump map is used. As you can see right here, it looks like a pattern, it looks like a pattern in which this area is kind of pushed inside. All right, if you see from this angle, what you see is that it looks pretty even for a sphere, right? You don't see any unevenness from the top, right? As you can see, it's just like an illusion, and it looks like a painting, right? It looks like a painting from the top, that this area is just painted. It's not actually, pushed inside. That's what's happening with bump maps. Bump maps just create an illusion that makes the surface look like it's uneven, but in reality it's just like a painting. You see a lot of paintings. That's what the painters did before that. They created an illusion and they used to play with shadows, highlights and stuff like that, in order to create that impression. Now let's see the displacement map. Now the displacement map is this, all right, and as you can see right here, there's actually unevenness, all right, in the geometry itself. It's not just like an illusion. As you can see right here, you can see that it's actually pushed inside. You can see this clearly. It's not like actually exact spherical, so with displacement map, actually the geometry is being changed rather than the illusion. All right, so keep that in mind guys. With displacement maps, the geometry is actually changing and it's actually getting pushed inside in this specific case. All right, and here as you can see as well, the scratches right here, all right, the scratches you see, they are actually pushed inside as well. All right, and that's the difference between bump maps and displacement maps. You can see again, this one is using the bump map right here, this one is using the displacement map right here. All right, and you can see there's a little bit of difference in the shading. The reason is when the area is pushed inside the displacement map, some of the lights cannot get inside these spots, but here the lighting looks kind of even. The reason is just like an illusion. That's it guys, nothing else. And the holes right here, which you can see, the holes are real as well. All right, they are actually pushed inside. This area is actually like a hole. Meanwhile, this is again an illusion. It's actually not inside. Now when should you use bump maps and when should you use displacement maps? Bump maps actually work pretty simple, and displacement maps are a little bit complex and also require a little bit more processing power, because you're actually changing the geometry in displacement map. Meanwhile in bump map, you're just creating an illusion. So keep that in mind. I'm going to mention some of the cases in which you should use bump map, and those cases are if you have like scratches or something like that, like little bit of scratches here and there, then at that position I would highly recommend to use bump maps, because scratches and stuff like that are like so so small, you actually cannot tell the difference. Like here you can see the stuff, see the imperfections, a little bit of unevenness. You cannot tell, right? It looks like it's real, That's what I'm saying, guys. So that's why I would highly recommend, if there's like scratches and slight surface imperfections, then you should use bump maps. Also, if you're seeing the objects from far away or like a little bit of distance, then it's even harder to tell the difference, right? At that point you cannot even tell if there's scratches or not, you know, it's like looking really small. So I would highly recommend to use bump maps at that situation. Now with displacement maps, in which I would recommend you is when there's patterns, you know. In this whole situation where I've used this, displacement map works here better. The reason is this sphere actually has a pattern right now, all right? It's not just an illusion, you know. So whenever you're creating patterns and stuff like that, when you know the area is kind of big and it's not like a small imperfection or like scratch or something like that, then I would highly recommend using displacement maps, because they just work better at that, you know, point. And whenever you are using close-up shots and stuff like that, they would look more real and it would work better in that situation. Now I hope you understood the differences and when to use them in which situations. Let's talk about how you can add them on your materials and your objects, you know. So let's make another project. I'm gonna turn on redshift. Let's create a cube this time. All right, this time we should have some change, you know. Let's create a dome light and let's start creating a material. So we have a material right now and let's just apply it to cube. All right, I'm gonna be using Grayscale Gorilla textures and HDRIs. You can download from the internet and you can use them. All right, it works the same, so keep that in mind, guys. All right, I'm just doing this so that I can explain this pretty fast, but there's a lot of websites through which you can download HDRIs and textures. Some of the sites I will mention in the description as well, which you can check out in order to download those HDRIs and textures. All right, so here I'm going to use Grayscale Gorilla. All right guys, so let's start with dragging some textures. I've added the HDRI, as you can see right here. You can add that as well. How you can do that is by adding a texture right here in RS Dome Light. Whenever you download the HDRI, what you can do is just drag from the folder and just place it right here in the texture. All right, Dome Light, then texture. That's it, and you're gonna get the HDRI. And now same with the textures, I have it in my plus library. I can just drag, and you can do the similar from your any of your folder. All right, now I have the texture. For adding the bump map, what you have to do is create bump map, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to adjust and stuff like that, so keep that in mind. And let's start. Just follow me. All right, drag it here, put in texture input, then in bump map, then from the bump map out to geometry and bump input. Now I've added everything and you can already see the difference. All right, now I have to zoom in and you can see the difference, guys. See the difference. There's a lot of scratches in here. Now this much scratch I would not recommend to use. It's just for demonstration purpose. All right, it's just for demonstration purpose. That's it. You don't have to use these many scratches. All right, keep that in mind. You can decrease the intensity of the bump maps by coming here and changing the height scale. All right, little bit. Now you can see the intensity has decreased. If I do it to like 0, you can, you know, there's nothing. All right, let's do 0.01. I mean, it's gonna be really subtle, and this much is what I would recommend. See this, it's like really subtle, and from distance you can't even see it. So keep that in mind, guys. And I can even go lower, you know, like 0.005, something like that. So this is what bump map is used for. Not that many settings in this. It's like very basic stuff, you know. You don't have to worry about any other things. All right, straight to the point. Now let's start using the displacement map. You can just cut it right here. All right, just click on the connection and it will, you know, delete the connection. All right, let's start adding displacement. Now for this adding displacement, you can type displacement, drag it here, texture map. Then from here, actually you don't have to, you know, connect it right here. You have to connect it here, output and displacement, guys. Now you cannot see any difference. All right, the reason is, let me just show you. You cannot see any difference, guys. The reason is there's another step for, you know, displacement maps, and that is to add a redshift tag on the object. Right click on this, go to render tags and press on redshift object. All right, now still you cannot see any difference. What you have to do is, when you click on this redshift object tag, you have to go in geometry, then click on this override, then tessellation enabled, and then displacement. Now, as you can see right here, something really funny happened, all right, and I'm glad this thing happened so that you might not get confused if this thing happens again. The reason is what displacement, whenever you want tessellation, it just subdivides it in a way that creates this, just makes this cube like a sphere, because it's subdividing it so much like that. So what you have to do is, in order to not do that, what you have to do is increase the segments in X, Y, and Z. All right, 20, 20, and 20. All right, still you can see rounded edges, but you can increase it even more. All right, 100, 100, 100. Now you can see it's not happening like that. Now, as you can see right here, as I mentioned before, the displacement is actually, geometry is actually being changed by this. You can see it here. It looks really uneven from the side as well. In bump map, you would not be able to guess that. All right, guys, so keep that in mind. Again, like before, when we use bump map, same thing was happening, that on default the intensity is really it's really high. So what you can do is go here, go to displacement, and decrease the scale. As you can see, we get the same thing right here, guys. All right, it's like really low, and it makes it look real, in my opinion. Both bump map and displacement map makes the object look kind of real, in my opinion, because no object in reality is like that even. In this situation specifically, I would not recommend to use displacement maps. As I said before, in case of patterns and stuff like that, I would recommend to use displacement, because it just is better at that point, because it actually creates difference in geometry, rather than in bump maps it just creates an illusion. That's it. So it depends in which situation you are currently in. That's it. It depends completely on the situation. That's why Redshift did not remove bump map, because for a lot of people, they might think, why should we not use displacement map all the time? What's the point of using bump maps? Point is that it just is faster to calculate than displacement map, because you are adding extra subdivisions in it, by turning on the tessellation and displacement stuff like that. Actually, you can disable the tessellation, all right, and it would still work. But a lot of times what happens is that the geometry which you are getting might not have that many segments. At that point, you have to turn on tessellation. You don't have any other choice. So keep that in mind, guys. Whenever you're trying to use displacement, I would highly recommend to already have high poly model, because it works better in that situation. Otherwise, if you are just adding a little bit of scratches, you have low poly model, you don't want to have patterns and stuff like that, like we had before here, right here. All right, here we have a pattern. All right, it's not just scratches. Scratches are there when we zoom, but mainly we can see pattern from this distance. So in this situation, displacement map is better. All right, and in this situation, when you just want to create some scratches and stuff like that, I would recommend to use bump map. This video, I didn't talk about everything of displacement map, because displacement map, all these settings are pretty, I would say, advanced, if not intermediate at least, and for beginner people, it would be hard to understand. All right, so keep that in mind. Actually, you can control the displacement scale from here as well, so keep that in mind, guys. All right, you can create from here, so keep that in mind, guys, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like this video, consider subscribing to this channel. I'll be posting more tutorials in the future, and my subs are increasing a lot, guys. I don't know, like, I actually added tutorials in the beginning just for people to see how I work. Like, I used to do freelance, so I thought I should add it so that my clients can see that I understand the process. But as I'm seeing some people are watching it, then I thought I should just full on start creating tutorials more and more. So if you are liking this, you can comment down below and tell what kind of tutorials you would like to have, and I will actually create those tutorials, because I would like to make a lot of videos. Sometimes I don't have that many ideas, so if you are giving me ideas, it would be so much better for me. And you can also check out my Instagram, guys. I have also a website which you can check. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Peace. Bye bye.